Always good to come on when we're laughing about it.
Exactly.
All right. This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios here in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. If you want to be part of the 30-day or 60-day transformation, then contact Karen, aka Sizzle, on any of her social media platforms at Fit to Be Trained. Now here's your host of Sizzle, Karen Dougherty.
That's the most realistic, because that's really how it is, right? We don't have a big studio audience.
Maybe we
here.
should have start to invite audiences and pay for admission.
Hey, you never know. You just never know. All you got to do is
8,000 views last week. Maybe we can start to do that.
I mean, you just never know. It's a crapshoot for sure. And it's funny because I usually type all this stuff out so I know what I'm gonna do. And this is a little bit tiny writing. The type is a little bit smaller. So I am gonna wing it. And it's easy for me to wing it today because I have a guest on today that I have wanted on for a very, very long time. But I always said from the very beginning that I'd give the ladies first. And I wanted to have all the ladies that I knew that I could get on the show first. And then I'd open it up to men. And I have my own personal trainer. Josh was my coach a couple years back at a very, very important time in my life. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I have been really looking forward to having Coach Josh Waltz on. He works at Takeover CrossFit, and he's
Takeover Athletics.
Takeover Athletic. Thank you for fixing that for me because I do that mistake.
And he is one of the best.
I mistake it a lot, and I've been really looking forward to this because even though when I have people on here, granted, some of them I've known for many, many years, and I've known Josh for quite a few years, but these questions, I get to get in this room with y'all and ask you questions that I really don't know. So I'm really looking forward to it. So Josh, thank you very much for coming on here. And I'm going to do my own clap. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And like I said, I've been excited for this, and I'll get right down to it because I've really wanted to know the background of how this all came to be. How did you become, how did you get into fitness first? And then what guided you over to the CrossFit realm?
Yeah. So it all started in college. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be. And I was trying to decide. I was really into music, and I was also really into fitness. So I ended up in the exercise and sports and health education department at Radford University, specializing in and concentrating in sports administration. And it had a myriad of classes and coursework that dealt with strength and conditioning, and it kind of just elevated that passion for something in the fitness realm. I wasn't really sure at that point, leaving college, what I was going to do with it. And that's where CrossFit also kind of started. In the spring of about 2010, one of my fraternity brothers asked me if I had known anything about the lovely CrossFit.com site, and I had no idea. And then playing with that for a couple of months, I realized that it was an animal itself. And I remember when I first started doing it, it was it felt like conditioning from sports. It felt like soccer practice. It felt like the feeling from a hard training session that I wasn't getting out of my normal gym routine. And really that was kind of what grabbed me and kept me doing it from today. And then outside of school, I continued doing it from my apartment for about 2 years before I ever met up with Takeover. But my first employment was with Parks and Recreation with the city of Virginia Beach in the aquatics unit. And from there, I had been working with the lifeguards, developing programming for them. I was overseeing the swim teams, specifically at Great Neck, and also created and developed the water polo program for the Great Neck Rec Center. And recruited cock swimmers, and really developed that program there. And then from there, about a year later, I ended up transferring into the fitness unit at the city of Virginia Beach, where I really delved into developing weight rooms. And I built the Bow Creek Recreation Center's weight room, Princess Anne's weight room, New Kempsville's weight room, and also Williams Farm. And that's kind of where my journey ended with the city. And that's when I moved into the operations management section at Takeover Athletics. So I had probably been coaching at Takeover for 2 to 3 years before going full time with Takeover, and that was the winter of 2020, so January of 2020, right into the pandemic. The gyms closed for a couple months,
Of course.
but we persevered and we're still going strong.
Mm-hmm. So strong. We've even added on,
Right.
I can go all over the beach and go visit you guys. It doesn't matter which part of Virginia Beach I'm in.
Right.
I can go see a Takeover friend and see what I mean. That's why I love these questions, because it's like, I didn't know that about you. I did know about you building out the gyms. And I kind of want to be clear when you say building out the gyms, you mean you're in charge with getting all the equipment, getting all the weight sizes, the plates, the bars, all that stuff, right? Am I correct? That's what I thought. So that's really cool. That was probably a fun job.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I bet. But there's always a budget.
Yep.
So you had to deal with budgets in the city of Virginia Beach. And I might add, because our listeners are from all over, but the city, our parks and rec here, our rec centers in Virginia Beach are top notch. I lived in Minnesota for many, many years, and theirs were more trails, bike thing. Minnesota really excelled in that. Virginia excels in their rec centers. Oh my God, they're top notch. They're well established. Don't you feel, Josh? I know you know, because you helped establish them, but affordable. So it's really hard for people to say to me, oh, I can't afford to work out. Yes, you can.
Right.
Yes, you can. Right, man. I mean, it's like $100 per year or something for some of that. I know and I'm talking top notch stuff. And in fact, I need to listen to myself because.
Right. Yeah. I feel like everyone should have a rec card just for backup.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pool there. You can play basketball. If you want to just do that, pick up basketball.
I know. And it's great for kids.
I know that we grew up right next to the Kempsville Rec Center. And literally we could go out our back gate and we'd be on their basketball court walking over those two hills. And we'd have family bowling night. They had the 2 bowling alleys there.
Yeah.
And we'd have family bowling night over there.
I know. It's kind of like keeps it old school. Those parks and recs are top notch and really state of the art, but it keeps it old school where we're working outside and being with our family and stuff like that. Any mentors that influenced you? Like I obviously was back in the 80s and 90s, Rachel McClish, Corey Everson, Arnold. We all know I love Arnold. And any of those for you?
Yeah.
Or were they the same?
Locally, a lot of props out to Andy Gallego and Ryan McNamara, owners of Takeover Athletics. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without those two. And then nationally, figures like John Wellborn of Power Athlete, and then the late Louis Simmons with Westside Barbell, Kelly Starrett with the Ready State, a lot of that mobility work and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you got your fan favorites, the Arnolds, the Lou's, Platts, a lot of that old 80s gym style, Dorian Yates.
Thank you.
You know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Cool. I love that. I love it. I love it. Your coaching style and philosophy, like you approach, I know this about you, how you have clients of all different ages. And I myself am 60 this year, and anybody that knows me has to listen to that constantly because I am just so thrilled to be 60 this year. But and I trained with you 3 years ago, and I was the norm, but I know that you do kid camps. You work with adults older than myself, so you've got a really big range. How is there a different approach for you for the different ages, or do you keep it kind of the same?
I try and keep it the same. I think it's based on the individual and not the age. We've got a lot of anyone new to fitness is practically like a child. And in no disrespect to them, but we've got 40-year-olds that don't move as well as 8-year-olds, and just patience with them as athletes, breaking things down, having different cues that are going to help them, constantly adapting, so changing. And knowing when someone needs to be pushed versus someone just needs to be scaled down or modified. I feel like in the last couple of years has been a thing I've been noticing is do they need more push, or do we need to pull back a little bit?
I appreciate that a lot, because as another fitness trainer myself, you're right. That's a big thing with me. And right now, and depending on the age, and I love how you said, you have 40-year-olds, like getting people to listen. It doesn't matter how old they are, sometimes, or having a room full of kids is like herding cats, trying to get them together, and their attention span is short. So, because I'm getting ready to do a class with kids and I'm nervous about it. That's not my specialty. So I might be coming to you for some advice with that one. But I like how you said, deciding if the person needs a push or to be scaled back. And what I've been noticing with some people, especially in my age group, is how they think they're young still. And I get it. Like, I get that you want to train the same. You don't want to change. You don't want to adapt. You want to stay young. And I get that. But you might have to scale back a little bit and work your way up slower than different age groups. That's what I'm finding a lot, or scaling back the weight a little bit and then bringing it up, because they want to come in at where they were at 10 years ago and they haven't trained in 10 years. And you're like,
right,
wait a minute here. I'm glad you did that at 40, but you're not 40 anymore.
Correct.
So right, so I bet you run into that too,
Well, and CrossFit says that one of the hardest athletes to deal with is the untrained athlete. Someone that used to do something has now built up unfortunately an ego and an image of where they were at. And it can be hard to break the notion that, hey, we're not that same athlete. And there's nothing wrong with it. But we do need to realize that as the individual, and the coach needs to express that to them in a way and communicate that in a way that is empathetic, but that is going to enhance their performance and lead them to just a better general life in their fitness.
Right on. How do you balance seriously, and like you deal with group fitness all the time as a CrossFit coach, and that's why I love going there, because I like group fitness. I excel in there because I get to have fun And I do personal training when I have to, and we'll get into that because I had to hire you as a coach because I wasn't going to class. But how do you balance serious fun and accountability? Because I've had to be shushed before from a coach, you know what I mean? And they
never.
And they have memes, literally. They have memes online about how your coach is going on in CrossFit, and the bell goes off and you're like, what are we supposed to be doing? So the question being, how do you balance seriousness, fun, and accountability? And you might just say you take it as it comes.
Right. Sometimes I feel like
tricks in there.
It's building trust with your clients. It's having them understand your kind of humor, and sometimes it can become it can be sarcastic, but you know, laying that sarcasm lightly. Accountability, I find utilizing tools like logging and apps have been of great use to my clients. And if they're logging their results, then you have the data to come back at and say, well, you know, if you see this, we aren't hitting these targets, or I've provided this app or way to hold you accountable because I can't be in your life 100% of the time. And if you're not using it, then it's really hard for you to reach said goals. One of the things I've been telling clients lately is what is your goal and what are we doing to get to that goal? If it doesn't align with your goals, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
And that goes for everything.
But Josh,
go ahead.
Let me piggyback off what Karen's talking about in class, and taking it serious and having fun and all that. I know as a rugby coach, when I'm talking and I would have some of the players kind of in the back muttering to each other, talking, that would drive me up the wall. Is that something that bothers you as well?
No, I just talk a little louder, and put emphasis on things, and then when they come back at me and say, "Hey, what are we doing? What are my weights?" I just let it slide.
I feel like I've been there.
I feel
like I've been in this scenario.
You're talking to a blank wall, and it slides off, and I just keep going. I'll just answer it.
I wasn't going to ask this question, but this always happens to me. I'll look at a question, I'll be like, man, I don't like that one. But so therefore, I'm going to ask it. How being a parent has influenced your way of coaching? Because I know you happen to be a parent.
Yes.
Patience.
A lot of patience. And also asking questions. I find that if there's an issue in class, there's probably information that I'm not receiving, because once again, I'm not in my teens or kids in our program's lives, so I don't know what's going on the outside. So having open communication with the parents has been important to the success of those athletes. And with all the things going on with special needs and different physical limitations and stuff like that, and mental limitations, it's very important to have a relationship not only with your athletes, but especially with the youth athletes' parents, so that you're kind of getting more information and so that you can service those athletes better.
That's awesome. That's why you are such a good coach. And I see, that's what I mean. I'm glad I asked that question, because that happens every time. What do you believe makes someone a great coach?
A passion. I think those that have the passion, want to be there, they show up on time, and on time isn't, at 12, it's that 11:45, it's that 11:30 with a game plan going in. I know. But being there early, being a welcoming face, it's being prepared and a desire to want to improve the life of your client.
Oh, and I kind of made that face, and we're on camera for YouTube. We're not always on camera, but I'm glad you saw me make that face. I meant as the student, but because I still think of you. You will always be my coach. You definitely are a peer, and you're another person even in the industry, because I am too. But you'll always be mine. But I do always think of how many coaches in our lives in sports used to tell us being on time means 15 minutes early, or being on time. You're late if you're on time. Yeah, remember you'd have that one. So that's why I laughed when I see it, because I think it's a great rule, by the way.
I'm kind of a firm believer in that. Say if you have like a 12 o'clock class time, for example, and obviously you mentioned it earlier, a little bit mobility.
Yeah.
You need to get in there at 11:30, and you need to get a good 20 minutes of mobility in before you do the warm up, because I think that makes your workout so much better. And then be prepared to do like 10 minutes afterwards or so. Josh, can you say anything about that?
Yeah, I selfishly program stretching and mobility so that I can take part in it. Since I'm training every day, I like to take that time and give that to my clients as well. But I'm a firm believer that getting some banded work in prior to getting that heart rate up, just letting the body kind of warm up pre your workout is probably is more beneficial than the actual workout. Making sure everything's moving right, making sure you're greasing the grooves, that's all going to set you up for success in your actual workload. And then you've got to stretch at the end. More static stretching, more dynamic stretching at the beginning, and then wrapping it up with your static stretching. But I am a big believer in both those.
I agree totally. How do you balance coaching, training, parenting, and personal time? Like, how do you personally, because you and I live the life, and so how are you when do you do your workouts? Are you a morning person? This is more of a fun question. Are you a morning person, an evening, or do you do it all day long?
I try and fit it in where I can. Ideally, I really like the 10 to 12 time frame. And it's been an ebb and flow. At one point in my life, it was 5:30 a.m. Another point, it was, the afternoons, 4:30. But I really find that I work best at around a 10 to noon time frame. If I have to get something
convenient for our schedule too, because we're early morning. Most of us are very early morning. Then we get a break in the midday, and then we go back in.
Right.
So yeah, good job. Yeah, I hear that's great that yours is at 10.
Yeah.
Mine's that early morning still. So if I work, I struggle. I sometimes miss the gym.
Right.
Because I'm working during my training time. So I like that piece to try and find a time. Try to start to like the 10 to 12 time, Karen, is what I hear. I got to start instead of skipping. And what I've been trying to do is Takeover has 4:30s. Our gym works the same time as me, but sometimes if I miss a morning, I've got a 4:30 open, I've been trying to be like, well, I'm not just a morning workout person. I can do the afternoon. And I suggest that with everyone. Try not to get too much in a rut, where you feel like, oh, I missed my time. I didn't do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Right.
It's the 4:30 is a fun slot too, because it buys you a lot of energy for the evening. There's perks with both times, right? There really is. Supporting clients through real life. This is when I get to come in, and I want to talk about how much Josh means to me personally, because, and I can't cry during this, but I might, so forgive me. I went through one of the toughest times in my life. Was it 3 years ago we worked together? I think it was the pandemic was finished. Yeah, we were well out of the pandemic. We were all back in the gym, and I had a pretty good, I live this life, so I'm pretty good. I'd probably train 3-4 times a week with weights. I've really incorporated mobility. I like how you were talking about, you and Steve were talking about that, because I do mobility 4 times a week now that I'm turning 60. And I do it like a half hour, 4 times a week. And it's making all my lifts better at the gym. When I do my heavier lifting, I'm getting heavier and I'm way better. And everything is much cleaner. So I really suggest people get that mobility in. But I wasn't going to the gym. There was about 2 weeks that I let go because I was going through some personal stuff with my son, and I asked permission. He said that I was allowed to say this because I want to reach out to people that if their child, my son got incarcerated at the age of 18, and it was such a difficult time for me because it's something you can't control. You know, it is, you worry about the well-being of your kid. It's a constant worry, like even at sleep at night. And I'm going to do some programming and reach out to other parents that are specifically going through something like that, because as much of experience I've had in life with addiction and all kinds of mental illness stuff like with my own family and family members, I've lived a pretty full life. And that, I will tell you, was the hardest thing I ever went through. And I couldn't get off the couch. I was so depressed, and I would get up to go to work, but then I'd go right back on the couch. And I'm a single mom, so he wasn't there. I wasn't cooking. I just was so depressed. It was awful. And I let 2 weeks go by because I'm very, very serious about my training. And 1 week went by, and I was like, well, I'm just like anybody else. I gotta pull myself together, and I'll do it next week. And then the second week went by, and I knew, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. So I need people to know that if you are in trouble, get help, and in my case, I did go to a doctor because me and Josh laughed about it. I went to a doctor, and obviously she's like, you need antidepressants. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm getting my ass kicked by Josh Waltz. We used to laugh about it. And I literally signed up for 3 times a week. And I need people to know that you've got to get the help. In my case, I did professional. I went to a doctor. And because it was training, I went to Josh and I told Josh what was going on with me. Like you had said, you like to communicate, and that mattered. I knew that you needed to know what was going on with me. So if I broke down, if I wasn't showing up, that you would call me on the phone and be like, all right, thankfully I did. I really reveled in our appointments, and I don't even think I missed a one. But I don't know that I would have made it through, because I am in recovery for addiction, and I could have relapsed during that time. I shouldn't speak for family members, so I won't name their names, but there was family members that weren't. They were relapsing during this time with my son. It was a tough time. And the reason why I'm able to talk about it so freely now and happily is because he has, sometimes they turn a leaf, sometimes they learn their lesson. He was a young boy. He's 22 now. He was 18. So he's had some maturing under his belt, and I am happy to report he's doing much better, and moving on with his life and becoming a successful adult. But in supporting your clients, I had to put that in there because I've always considered you, like I joked around in the email. I was like, I love you, whether you like it or not. Love Karen. Love Sizzle. Everybody knows me as Sizzle, but because you were so kind to me during that time, Josh, and so patient, and really challenged me.
Right.
And you're a great, great coach. And like Steve said, just you're phenomenal. And this interview is long overdue because I always wanted to thank you. But I'll move on with my questions. How do you, I know the answer, but how do you support clients who are going through tough seasons?
Once again, I think it goes back to having empathy and patience with members, being able to kind of pick up on social cues. We've had several members that have had family members pass or friends pass due to unexpected circumstances, and just kind of just asking them if they're okay. You know, if they need anyone to talk to, and opening that door to speak to them. And it doesn't even have to be in the gym. You know, it could be hey, do you want to go out somewhere and meet up and, you know, just talk.
Right, because coaching goes further than just the workout.
Let me expand on that just a little bit too, guys. When I was coaching the Old Dominion women's rugby team, I mean, here I am, I'm inheriting this job. The young ladies had 16 teams in their division. Before I took over, they were in 16th place. So my main focus going in was, you know, let's just get these girls better at rugby, and maybe they'll, you know, learn to compete better. And to their credit, yeah, after 3 semesters, they finished in the top 4 in their division. But what I wasn't prepared for was the real life problems that they had, right, that they would bring to the table, such as a boyfriend punching them or something like that, or you know, girl not being able to afford a meal, and just stuff you're just not expecting. You know, almost like a curveball, somewhat out of left field, that you're like, wow, all of a sudden I'm kind of finding myself in this odd situation. So yes, I want to help and do everything I can, but I wasn't expecting this. What's my next maneuver? Was there kind of like a moment in time, Josh, in which you know, you're like, all right, I'm building gyms, all right, let's work out, let's, you know, have a great fitness class, and then something gets brought to the table that kind of was eye-opening to you, that made you have to try to react and you know, kind of pull an audible, let's just say, and maybe just a telling moment in time, like, wow, this is more than just coaching weights and stuff. I'm almost a psychologist at times now as well. Was there a moment where that kind of struck you?
There can be it with clients all the time. There have been times where I've just said, you know what, maybe we just hop on a bike and maybe we just talk. I can tell that something's bothering you, and none of what we're doing is going to benefit you, especially in the realm of lifting heavy weights. If someone's off their game, we might as well just hop on a bike or a rower and take that intensity down.
Yeah, you can almost hurt yourself, right? If you're not really
right. Exactly.
Completely right.
The focus isn't there. The focus is on other things, and sometimes it's just kind of like allowing them the space to feel heard and cared about.
I love that you said that, like feeling heard. And I started to cry when you were talking. And let me tell you why, because I feel like I remember there was a time where you were like, hey, let's do this. You know, the programming changed for me because maybe I shared something. I don't remember the actual day, but I do remember you saying, hey, let's hop on a bike, you know? Yeah, you're great. You were so good with that. And then why empathy matters in coaching. You pretty much just answered that. What do you hope clients gain beyond physical strength?
I think the physical aspect is one part of fitness that, as in our job, that we have to cater to. It's the it's the tactile or the visual. We see the outside of the book. Everyone wants to look good naked. Everyone wants to perform better, but are you happy? Like, are we doing this in a way that we are meeting your goals, but it's not at a detriment to your mental health? So it should be finding fitness in all aspects of life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and building that well-rounded individual, rather than just we're gonna work hard, bury you into the ground, and hopefully we spit you out on the other end and you're okay. Like,
and you'll be better for it.
Exactly. You know, the old pain and gain theory.
Which I do. There is a lot of it, but that's why I teared up too, because I remember you going, maybe we're just going to ride a bike today. and that is what makes you such a great coach. That's funny. It isn't all about the pain and the gain. In fact, I think both of us know that was my time. The 80s time was always no pain, no gain. That's the most ridiculous thing ever, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Everything about the 80s was how much can we do? And so many people got hurt in it. Like, I was looking at old pictures of the 80s, and the big ankle weights that were on our ankles moving around, like how that is so bad for the knee joint. You're like, oh my God, like looking at it, looking at that stuff now, you're like, oh my God. My writing is so little. What you hope clients feel when they walk away from a session with you? That's a good one.
Empowered. I hope that they feel good. Like, I want them to feel successful. I don't need them to leave drenched and feeling sore. I don't need them to leave saying that they're in pain. And I think that sweat and stress and strain is not a good indication of a good training session. But that progress was made. So a lot of the times when I'm working with a new client, I definitely am following up at the end of class. How did that feel? What are your thoughts? What did it meet your goals? Once again, going back to that goals thing. I think a lot, and like I'd say probably in the last decade, there's been that shift. It was like, I need to feel like I was drilled into the ground, and if I'm not leaving here soaking wet and feeling like I can't walk tomorrow, then nothing was solved.
I think we all go through that, don't we? And you just kind of mature through that, you realize. And I'm so glad we're talking about this in specific, because I am always trying to get my age group to come to CrossFit, and not always, but often. And or when I say it, people are like, oh, that stuff's so hard. And granted, it is hard, but takeover, and we're getting ready to talk about takeover in the community, and our specific community modifies so much so that I joke, because when I first started CrossFit, I was in my 40s, and guess what I was doing? The workouts to drill me into the ground, and I didn't know how to pull back. And it certainly wasn't my coach's fault, because I had great coaches ever since the beginning I started in CrossFit, which is why I'm still in it. I've been in it for 14 years now, because it's so fun to me. And me personally would make bad decisions in there. So often I'd have to hire a personal trainer, and that with yourself, like certain scenarios, my lifts or whatever. But CrossFit has a bad reputation from the past of being very, very hard and overdone and blah 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 blah. And I need to clarify, like Steve said earlier, it's takeover athletics. Do we do CrossFit based workouts? Yeah, but I'll let you clarify with that. This specific community has really great coaches. And I joke with my age group, because I don't have the ego that I had when I was younger. I'm having the best time of my life right now in CrossFit.
Right.
Because I'm using a 22-pound bar with 10-pound weights. And like Monday's workout was the cleans. Oh, it was such I live for those workouts. Oh my God. I have a big bruise right here, which again, that might scare somebody, but that was only because I forgot my pad right here. Like I have a bra that has a padding here, but you know what I mean? Like I want people to know they don't need to be scared of it, that it's really fun. It's very empowering. There's tons of modifications. If you leave your ego at the door, no one's going to shame you. No one. And but I'll shut up because this is your interview. But so what makes Takeover special other than what I just all said?
Yeah, no. I think the big thing in the last couple of years I've been trying to instill, like, we're not a gym. We're a coach-led facility. And we've
community. Like
and
there's a lot of
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Right. And within that, we've learned a lot throughout the years. We've been open since 2010. And so we've built a great tier system. Then I think of it like a tree. So you've got your RX workout, the main workout you're going to look out on Sugar Wad. And then we break it down into the tier, and those are the branches. So you've got your tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 of scales. And then from there, the coaches can then branch off into twigs on, like I've got a shoulder injury. All right, well, let's modify this. So like today's workout, we had snatches and hand release push-ups. The coach has the freedom to say, you know what, instead, if your shoulder bothers you in the snatch, how about we try a clean? You know, the same principles are being applied. We're still opening up the hips. There's still an explosive movement, but we've taken out the part that could cause injury. And I think that is a defining difference to other gyms or other communities, where the coach is looking out for the athlete and providing them feedback and providing them the opportunities to succeed.
And here's another thing too, that I want to say to people that say you are in a group fitness situation and you're like, oh, my shoulder hurts, I don't really want to do this. And Josh, you might agree with me. Don't you like that's part of our job. When somebody comes to us and they go, I've got this. And part of our education is, like you said, okay, well, I've got to figure out something that's going to give you an explosive movement from the hips. You know, we like doing that. We like trying to figure it out, you know? Yeah, that's kind of like makes our job more interesting in a sense, you know, like if everybody all the time.
It reminds me of A Beautiful Mind, when the equations are going off in his head. It's a problem to solve.
Exactly. And if everybody every day was able to do every single workout, how bored would you and I be? You know, we'd be like, okay, well, I mean, because it's nice to be able, I mean, we're not happy somebody's injured, but at least we get to modify something, use our specialty, you know, think on our feet, you know, it's kind of fun. Your role in shaping the culture there. So you told us that you are in charge of, you're in charge. Tell me.
I'm the operations manager at Takeover Athletics.
What does that mean?
I oversee programming. I oversee our strength class at our London Bridge location, which is separate from our CrossFit class. It is a fusion of strength and conditioning with a periodization program. So we do 6-week cycles of different strength cycles, and then mixed with conditioning built into it. And that is the Mid-Atlantic Strength Program. And then on top of that, just overseeing basic operations at our First Landing and London Bridge location.
Cool. I knew that you were in charge of programming. You sound you're really running a lot of things over there. And we are at 3. I say we because I feel such a part of that community, even though I go to the First Landing. But I was lucky enough because you're at one of the other facilities that I was in, and that's what's nice. Like you can go to any facility you want.
Right.
I mean, it is 3. No, it's 4. Isn't
Yeah,
it 4?
we got Red Mill as well.
That's right. That's right. I got to get down there and visit that one. I've never been to the Shadow Lawn one either. I've kind of stayed between London Bridge and First. I keep saying First Colonial, but First Landing. What do you personally love about the community the most?
I just enjoy making people happy. And I know that sounds so simple, but
yeah.
seeing the light bulb moments, seeing people see their success, people who might come in and say, I just don't feel like I'm making any progress. And I go, what are you talking about? 6 months ago, you weren't even picking up a barbell, and now look at you. So it's the little things, I think, at sometimes too, and showing people the little things, especially when you're in this like ecosystem or our little bubble, because I think people forget that they're surrounded by fit people. So I think that they're constantly basing themselves off the people around them and not really kind of looking at the whole.
Yeah. Well said.
Let me ask you this, Josh. Because there are so many movements, and then you do the programming, so as good as anyone that you can't do pistols every day. You can't climb the rope every day. You have the muscle ups. In fact, you're going through so much stuff that maybe people tend to kind of get out of practice on a lot of these things because you got to go through kind of the whole gamut of exercises. So would you say that practice on your own really matters a lot in terms of if you want to be the quote unquote to yourself the CrossFit superstar maybe in your own mind, you need that to set aside some practice time to kind of try to repeat a lot of these movements that you might not be getting enough of during regular class time because there's so much shit to go over in an hour anyway. You're not going to get to it. That's my nature, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I call it a healthy obsession. If you want to gain a skill, you need to have a healthy obsession with that movement.
Well said, because I've never heard any of the great athletes that I watch all their documentaries. I love doing that. Yeah. It's usually starts with a healthy obsession.
Yeah, because obviously if you want to get better at something, you're going to have to practice and do it a little bit more and a little bit more. Yeah. And you will see results. But then a lot of times, I mean, just by the nature of the beast, I think the coach's hands are tied just because there's so much stuff to go through as this. You know, I mean, you can go weeks without seeing a clean and jerk or whatever, I mean, you did snatches today. When's the last time snatches were part of the programming? 3 weeks ago or something, maybe? Yeah.
I kind of want to skip ahead because we started talking like this, and I'm going to go back because there's not a question here that I don't want to ask. They're all really, really good. But please tell me your favorite movement.
That's a tough one. I really like all
I know. It's not for me, but
okay. So it's less of a movement and something like JIT. So I recently purchased a belt squat.
Okay, do tell.
So it loads all the weight in the hips. So it takes the load off the spine for a back squat, a traditional back squat. Now, what's really cool about it is there is endless amounts of things I can do on it. You can lunge on it. You can RDL on it. You can do bicep curls on it because the weight is pulled through the floor and it's on a pulley system. And if you got time, look up Rogue Fitness belt squat.
BELT?
Yep, like a belt. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is a
Um,
good talk. I'm doing it
but
right now.
what I found is through online Instagram was a reel called the Death Ski. And what you do is you row the ski erg underneath the belt squat, and you attach the belt to the hips, and you ski 5 minutes max effort. And it loads the hips like I've never felt the hips loaded before. It feels like a cardio version of a good morning. So right now, yeah. And of course, I love my traditional squat, bench, and deadlift. But it is an interesting movement and kind of like workout that I've been.
Do you have this at the gym, or is
I've got it at London
it
Bridge.
in your garage?
Yeah, I've got it at London
That's
Bridge.
so nice of you to share it.
Yeah.
That's cool. This is cool. And you've got like, y'all, I need y'all to look, like, you're going to look up Josh, and Josh, you're going to send me like your Instagram stuff and all that, so we can get people, so they can, you got to take a look at Josh. And I don't mean to sound inappropriate. Josh has got some legs on him, lady. I mean, everybody. Josh is a good looking man, but I mean, there's a lot more to him than that. So I don't like focusing on that. But yeah, you would like a belt squat, wouldn't you? But other than that, like if we did stuff, you would say deadlift is what I think I heard, right? You like deadlift. What is your least favorite movement?
My least favorite movement? I don't have a I love movement in general.
Is there a movement that people do that's kind of a pet peeve? Let's throw it that angle at you.
There we go. I like that one. Actually, you know what I do? Actually,
I got a couple, but go ahead.
Now I got this. So I really do not like a very light snatch. So like 75-pound cardio-based movement on a snatch, I don't like it at all. I think that it is something that becomes more like a kettlebell swing in most athletes. So I have to change. Yeah. I have to correct it. And because it's so light, people can just muscle through it. But it blows up the back. And it's one of those moments where you're like, well, you know, if you keep moving that way, then yeah, like expect it to hurt the back. But I don't like that. Another one is like box jump overs. I feel like it is a
thank you very much on that one. Yes, I agree.
It's a junk output. You know, you're using it just to make someone sweat. The box jump in general has kind of been poor plyometrics have taken a back stance to just junk volume with a box jump. And the value in a box jump should be, jumping as high as possible, learning to land and absorb that weight. You should be
kind of flexing at the end, at the top a little bit with your core, right? I mean,
right.
Cabo broke that down to me with the step up, and the box jump is, you know, you're not jumping just for the sake of jumping. You're actually going to a smooth landing, and then when you're kind of standing tall at the end, you're kind of clenching through your body and flexing at everything, and that's where you're getting a lot of the workout in it, rather than the jump itself.
Exactly.
Cool. And with, I hope I'm not getting too forward. I loved that I got to talk to you about your personal life and stuff like that on this podcast, but I would like you on again so we could talk about mechanics and stuff like this, because that's really fun to talk about. And I know we get all three of us.
Can I give you one more?
Please go on.
Okay, you mentioned it, the ski erg.
Yeah,
and I see these people pull down the ski rope and just bend over at their waist and kind of just put their legs are straight, and then they're bending over to where it's almost 90 degrees, legs to where the back is curving. I'm saying to myself, that's not how you ski.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you ski. You ski with your kind of chest kind of up. You're kind of looking straight ahead, and
right.
I think the movement really works best when you kind of work it through the solar plexus and everything just top to bottom, and not just bending at the waist, trying to get it to come down through your shoulder blades. I don't know, it drives me up the wall when I see it. Watching these watch these high rocks competitions, and you'll see nothing but shabby ski erg form. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, I haven't seen any of them yet. Interesting. I didn't know that they were having the televised competitions. I'll have to snoop in on some of that.
Yeah, somehow they trickle through on my algorithm, but yeah.
Good. I'd like to see that, because like some of the masters athletes we've have dabbled in the high rocks, but they just come back to the CrossFit all the time. Like they've dabbled over there and been like, I mean,
isn't it just CrossFit, but they're naming it something different, Josh? I mean,
well, they don't have a barbell. There's no barbell.
Its own brand. They actually have their own affiliation, so it's right. High Rocks is their own company,
but there's no barbell work in there.
No barbell. It's
but it's wall balls, it's the skier, it's the sled.
The joke is CrossFit Light.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's it.
But the barbell is everything to me. So I have no interest in that. And so I didn't focus on, or like the Orange Theory. If there's no barbell, I don't want anything to do with it. I love it. Okay. A funny, memorable coaching moment. I know that is a hard
one.
It's like how many?
It's like daily. I constantly have fun, like.
Well, you'll have to come on again, and you'll have time to think about that. Okay, how about that? That way I can pin you down.
Go.
What do you wish more people understood about? And I wish I didn't put CrossFit because or this style of training, because it is takeover
exercise
athletics.
Science.
You know what though? I like the word CrossFit. I feel like it is a semantics. It is its own methodology, but it's nothing new to the strength and conditioning world.
No.
And I think that's what brought a lot of people in, because I think a lot of people, it was a nostalgia moment when they would do their first CrossFit workout, and it brought them back to their training days when they were in their prime in high school or college age. And they were like, I haven't felt like this since then.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I felt. It reminded me of strength and conditioning prior to soccer, and it brought me back to that feel of that. And I was like, I want more. I want to feel that. The big thing I've been trying to explain to my members is when we're conditioning, it should be fast. It shouldn't be heavy, and we shouldn't be resting as much. So that's one of the things I've been really drilling home, is that if we're taking rest breaks or we're doing singles on Olympic lifts or barbell lifts, whatnot, then we need to bring that weight down, because the intention is to express movement with great or excellent form. And how well are we able to maintain that form through that conditioning? Whereas strength is when we can express load and intensity through heavier loads and whatnot. And it's been received real well. And the athletes improved because of that.
Cool. That is interesting. And you're right. Like, I mean, there's theory in everything. And that's bring the weight down if you're doing one at a time.
Right.
Your long-term goals as a coach, are there any? And is there anything that you would like to discuss? This is an open forum and a platform for you to say who you are. And is there anything that I haven't given you space for in this time that you would like to mention?
I appreciate the space you've given me. I'm thankful for the opportunity. This is my career. This is my passion. And I look to continue this for the rest of my life.
So that's your long-term goal, because I'm with you. I'm with you
I'm-
too. I knew that I could do this till I was dead.
Yep. That's the plan.
It's great. It is. It's great. All right. Well, with that, I will let you get back to your regular life. And I can't thank you enough for coming on, Josh. And I do hope that you'll come on again so we can
Oh,
dive
definitely.
down the hole of exercise mechanics. I love that. And we can laugh about the box jump over. What is the point? And it was it was in the open. It was in the open quite a bit. But
Yep.
Josh doesn't program the open, so that's that was I'd love to talk about the open too. There was some
Yeah, we can
interesting
definitely-
workouts on there. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's a blown ACL waiting to happen. The box jump.
I know. It's funny how we could find a conversation over something as simple as that, but we definitely could. But Josh, thanks again for taking the time out of your day and spending some time with us today. And we don't have all our music and all that stuff today, so we'll just close out with yay. Thanks, man. I appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Josh. Let me know if you can pull some strings for me there.
Definitely.
Get on back to me. All right, cool.
Definitely.
All
Have a
right.
good one, man.
See ya.
You too. Bye.
That was fun. That was
All right.
good.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. That was fun. That was educational. And every time too, like I think I know somebody and then I learned so much about them.
He's a good coach. He's at Takeover Athletics, guys. If you need to want a piece of Coach Josh and want to see what he's all about, reach out to him. I'm sure he has a little bit of space for new clients. I guess we should have asked him that.
I would like he does.
Yeah.
We always do, right? And
Right.
I would like to have him on again so he does have a chance to really focus in on what he enjoys as a trainer. But he is that kind of guy that really can train anybody on anything and any scenario. But I know that a lot of guys are attracted to him when they're trying to build more muscle. Do you know what I mean? He's really good at the strength piece of things.
8,000 views will be hard to top, but I bet he'll get quite a few from around here.
I think he will too, as a local guy, for sure. For sure. Well, I miss our music today.
All right, Sis, I'll sing for you if you want.
All
but,
right.
otherwise, have a happy Easter,
Have
everybody.
a happy Easter. Yeah.
And be safe. And we'll be back next week.